Boy, you got that right, PC. It's a tough life for a nurse from an enema shop out here. That's right. Sometimes you just have to clutch onto the best ship that passes you by and make it work. You know what I mean? You just gotta put on your best pencil dress and cinch that waist as much as possible with the thinnest of belts and do that 50s hairstyle thing with the big curl in the front of your head. You know what I mean. Amen, brother.
Well, hey there, look at all you Enemaniacs out there looking good and healthy and ready for a new episode of B-Movie Enema the series. I'm Jeff Arbuckle, and I'm joined as always by Nurse Disembody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Nurse, and down here, under my desk, is the great B-Movie Poop Shoot. Shit yeah, Poop Shoot. Shit yeah. Oh, and it looks like he's got this week's movie, Nurse, so why don't you entertain the peoples while I go get the movie?
How's it going, everyone?
All right.
Oh, thank God.
Did you have a good conversation with the audience?
Sure.
Swell. So, this week's movie is Private Hell 36. Now, you might look at that title and think, well, that kind of sounds like a war movie, and barring any image or cursory review of the synopsis, I would have agreed with you, but there's just something about the title, the Army-style font, but, yeah, you know, it just kind of feels like a war flick. But if you notice the primary thing that's staring you down on the poster, you realize quickly that is a dame, and dames don't fight no wars back in 1954.
And what a dame she is.
Indeed, this is Ida Lupino. We'll talk a little bit more about her later, but what we have here is a crime noir film. It's one that I also think is kind of interesting, and we'll talk a lot about that later, too.
Is there anything we'll talk about now? I feel like you're dodging a conversation like you do when I ask for a raise.
Oh, would you look at the time? I'm sorry, Nurse. I would love to talk about possible raises and stuff, but I got a movie to talk about.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, the movie has all sorts of key people associated with it. It's directed by Don Siegel. Now, Siegel was born in Chicago in 1912, and while he was born into a Jewish family, when he graduated from college, it was from Jesus College, which is part of Cambridge in England. Actually, you know the full name of the Jesus College, Nurse?
I assume it's the College of the Blessed Virgin Mary, St. John the Evangelist, and the Glorious Virgin St. Radegund near Cambridge?
Yeah. It is.
I thought it was. It's pretty obvious.
Okay, anyway, Siegel also got some education from Beaux Arts de Paris. Eventually, Siegel went to Los Angeles and got work with Warner Brothers in their film library. From there, he became the head of the montage department at Warner and ended up directing thousands of montages. However, what really launched his feature film career wasn't his montage work, but his work in short subject directing. In 1945, Siegel made two shorts, the short drama Star in the Night and the short documentary Hitler Lives. Both won the short subject categories at the 18th Academy Awards in 1946. So right out of the gate, even before he stepped onto a feature film set to direct a movie, he directed the opening montage sequence for the 1942 Best Picture winner Casablanca, and he directed the 1945 Best Live Action Short winner and the 1945 Best Documentary Short Subject winner. His first feature was 1946's The Verdict, starring Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre, who were both in Casablanca. The leading lady from The Verdict was Joan Loring. Loring was nominated for Best Supporting Actress the year prior when she played Bessie in The Corn is Green. So I think it's safe to say Siegel was working with a pretty solid cast right out of the gate, and he already came with some prestige. Now, while some of Siegel's work is somewhat unrecognizable by title. As his career continued on, he started to pile up some pretty dang recognizable titles. 2 years after making Private Hell 36, Siegel made one of the greatest science fiction movies of all time, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Later, Siegel made an Elvis movie. He then directed Steve McQueen in Hell is for Heroes, before making the highly appreciated The Killer, starring the great Lee Marvin. But it was Siegel's partnership with Clint Eastwood that brought some of Eastwood's most iconic movies to the screen, and they were mostly all very well received and pretty big box office hits. The first was 1968's Coogan's Bluff. Then, a couple of years later, he made 3 films with Eastwood in 1970 and 71. These were Two Mules for Sister Sarah, The Beguiled, and the big one, Dirty Harry. While Eastwood was always a star going back to when he was on TV's Rawhide, Dirty Harry made him a superstar. To this day, the character of Harry Callahan is quotable as all get out.
You're out of bullets, and you know what that means. You gotta reload, Buster. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's an asshole.
That's not...
You've gotta ask yourself a question. Do I feel pretty? Well, do you, Jeff?
What?
Go ahead. Make my sandwich.
Okay, we're done with that.
It's a hell of a thing, killing a man. You take away all he's got and everything he's ever gonna have.
That was actually a correct Eastwood line, but it's not from Dirty Harry. That's from Unforgiven, which was dedicated to the recently departed Don Siegel. The 5th and final film Siegel made with Eastwood was Escape from Alcatraz, another Eastwood classic that was also thought of as one of the best films of 1979 and a box office hit. In between making Dirty Harry and Escape from Alcatraz, Siegel worked with Walter Matthau and Michael Caine. He then directed the final John Wayne movie, The Shootist. He also made the Charles Bronson spy flick Telephone, which co-starred Donald Pleasance, and had a script co-written by Peter Hyams. Siegel's final film was Jinxed. Well, maybe both the title and the production itself were jinxed. That's kind of a bad joke. That starred Bette Midler. Siegel suffered a heart attack while the film was in production, and he retired from filmmaking. Siegel passed away in 1991 from cancer while married to Carol Rydall, who used to be a secretary of Clint Eastwood. I bring up Jinx because he hired another friend of his to do second unit work, Sam Peckinpah. Peckinpah worked on Riot in Cell Block 11 for Siegel, and then on this film as a dialogue director. Peckinpah's work on Jinx helped him get his final film a year later, The Osterman Weekend, starring Rutger Hauer, Burt Lancaster, and Dennis Hopper. But let's get rolling on Private Hell 36, and I'll help Nurse Disembodied brush up on her Clint Eastwood movie quotes.
There's 2 kind of people, my friend. Those with loaded buns and those who have dogs. You dig?
Money, $300,000, which never reached the bank's night depository. The place, New York City. The killer and the money vanished. A slick, cold-blooded job. Not until a year later in the city of Los Angeles did the case suddenly come alive again. Detective Sergeant Calvin Bruner, working out a robbery detail, Los Angeles Police Department, had checked off duty for the night, was on the way home when his trained eyes and ears stopped him.
This is a police officer. Come out in the open. With your hands up. I said come out in the open.
All right, don't shoot. Don't shoot.
Drop that gun. Now come over here. Keep your hands up.
Robbery Division, Farnham speaking. What'd you say his name was again, man? Yes, ma'am, we have your husband on a robbery charge. No, he's not receiving business tonight. Call in tomorrow. What are you doing here?
I was on my way home and going by this drugstore. Saw this character and a pal of his taking over the joint. Sit down there.
Pal, you feel all right?
Yeah, sure. Never felt better.
Take everything out of your pockets, put it on the desk here. Thought you had a date.
Oh, that's right, I did, didn't I? Well, I guess I'm going to be late. This one of the guys from the drugstore, Lieutenant. The other's on his way to the morgue.
All right. The fruits of honest toil, no doubt. Anything wrong, Lieutenant?
Charlie Bowman got it.
I don't feel so good.
Shut up.
Where did it happen?
Boyle Heights a couple of hours ago. Tried to break up a gang fight.
Does his wife know about it?
Yep. I had the pleasure of telling her.
That's too bad.
Look at me, doctor, will you?
Shut up. Glad I got the other creep anyway.
Look, why don't you go ahead and wash up? I'll book him.
Sure you don't mind?
No, go on.
Okay. See you in the locker room.
All right. Start telling the lieutenant your life story.
Look, honest, I got the shakes. Give me a doctor, will you?
Never mind that. What's your name?
Anthony Sarovich.
Where do you live?
I'm a transient.
Who's your partner?
What difference does that make now?
You know, some people can remember faces that can't remember names. Sometimes I remember both. It's a gift. The last time you paid us a visit, it was Jake Lamont. Lost some weight since then. Business bad?
My name is Anthony Sarovich.
Where'd you get the roll?
Took it off the guy that runs the drugstore.
$50. You know, he's an old money pusher. That could be counterfeit, or it might be hot. I'll check it with Stimson. He's all yours.
Let's go. You ought to know the way by now. Come on.
How do you like that? Look at that. You remember when I got this suit? When was it? Yesterday. That miserable creep.
Good thing it didn't go through you.
Yeah. I could have been laid out tonight next to Bowman.
Only yesterday, Bowman was telling me that he made his last payment on his car. That's something, isn't it?
Ah, stop taking it so hard. He wasn't your brother.
Nope. Just a nice guy.
Dame I know gets me this stuff wholesale. Old oak. Not too bad, huh?
Stinks.
Tell you one thing. I'd rather be Bowman any day than alive and pushing a desk like Lubin.
Lubin doesn't catch any slugs where he's sitting.
Yeah, it's all in a day's work.
Yeah, sure. Just can't afford to make a mistake.
That's right. Bowman probably got a little careless, that's all.
Sometimes I wonder what would happen to Francie and the kid if I got a little careless.
Knock it off, Jack. I can't afford to lose you.
Think you can find time to go to Bowman's funeral?
Oh, yeah, sure. Maybe I'll wear my new gray suit.
Oh, yes, he'll love that. Sometimes I wonder why we go steady.
Because I'm irresistible. What am I going to tell Baby this time?
Tell her you're sorry, but you had to shoot a man. If she loves you, she'll understand.
Bruner, Farnham, see Captain Michaels before you leave.
That ties it. And what the old man wants now?
Probably wants you to take over his job.
Yes, sir, there was a $50 bill in what they took, all right.
You sure about that?
Yes, sir.
Tom, I think it's his bedtime. I'll just keep the toys here. Now, Mr. Mays, I hate to bother you, but you see, we have to know where you got this 50. Can you remember?
Yes, sir, I remember. A customer, a man I'd seen several times before, came in tonight.
Tonight?
Yes, sir. I was just getting ready to close up. Well, anyway, he seemed to be in some pain, so I filled a couple of doctor's prescriptions for him. Said he had a gallbladder condition.
Mm-hmm. He's the one that gave you this bill.
Oh, yes, sir. I remember because I had a hard time making change for that much.
Anything else you remember about him? Of course, with every prescription, there's a name, isn't there? You recall what it was?
No, sir, no, I don't recall offhand. But I can check the prescription slips. He was grousing about having to go back to work, the way he felt. Said he worked at a club, a bartender, the Emerald Club.
Emerald Club?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Do you know where that is?
No, sir.
Now, Mr. Mays, we have to ask you a funny kind of favor. See, we have to put this bill into evidence. So we'd like to keep it here for a while. Of course, you'll get another one just as good. All right?
Yes, sure, I guess it's all right. $50 is pretty cheap for what you did for me.
Oh, we don't charge for this kind of service. So we'll just consider this a loan, shall we? Oh, now the rest of this you can have back. I think there's $123 here. Can you get home all right? You got a car?
Thanks. I sure owe you a lot. If there's anything else I can do,
You know, there is something that you can do. I wish you'd go back to your drugstore tonight and get the name on those prescription slips and phone it in. Will you do that?
Sure. Could I have somebody go with me?
I think we can arrange that.
I'll take care of it, Captain.
Okay, fine.
We'll get the name.
Well, good night.
Good night.
Boys,
Yes, sir?
Lubin checked this bill, and as you probably suspect, it's hot.
Oh?
Belongs to that elevator homicide job in New York. I just talked to him back there, and some of the money, not too much of it, is showing up in Miami, and there's some in Las Vegas. They want us to follow up here. So, Bruner, you and Farnham take this on, see what turns up.
Yes, sir.
You hold the stakes. Now go find me a bartender with gallbladder trouble.
Good night, Captain.
Bruner,
Yes, sir?
you took a long chance tonight, and you won. Next time, play it safe, huh?
Right.
Good night now, boys. Keep in touch.
We will.
If I never did like sending two policemen into a bar.
Jack?
Hi.
Sorry if I woke you.
I wasn't asleep.
Honey, what are you doing? Checking up on me? Nothing wrong with the baby, is
No, she's fine. It's me. I guess I'll never be a very good wife for a policeman.
Hey, what's all this about?
I heard about Charlie Bowman. Grace called me. Oh, it's so awful. It could have been you. I tried to get you, but you were out. I just want to be sure you're all right.
Of course I'm all right, darling. Well, the odds are 1,000 to 1 in my favor. Those are honest figures. I read them last year.
I know I'm being silly. You have so much to worry about. Baby, me, the house. Oh, but sometimes I wish you were in some other kind of work.
Come on now. Doing what I know how to do. What I've been trained for. And I like it. Except on payday. You know, for the first time, my feet hurt. Think I'm getting old?
Jack. Sometimes when I'm lying here waiting for you, I get panicky. I wonder what I'd do if you didn't come home.
I've never heard you talk like this before.
I couldn't stand it if anything happened to you. I know I've got the baby. I do love her. I've had you so much longer. Oh, darling, please, couldn't you get a transfer to something else? Something safer. Don't press our luck.
Darling, everything's gonna work out. I'll think of something. Hey, what's all this? You gotta go to sleep, huh?
Not open yet, not till 5. Can't you read?
It's all right. We're not drinking. Yet.
Your name Marvin? How's your gallbladder? We had a talk with a fellow at the drugstore.
You gave the man a $50 bill. Is this it?
Well, how would I know? I just gave him $50. There are quite a few of those in circulation.
Not like this one. Where'd you get it?
What are you guys getting at? What is this?
Mind your bladder, Marvin. Just think back. Where'd you get the 50?
You borrowed it? From whom?
Someone I know. It's a girl. She works here.
At what?
Well, she sings songs. She has a hat check concession on the side.
Mm-hmm. She always good for a 50?
I needed that $50 for the doctor. Tips have been lousy.
Sure.
Hi, Sam. Who are your friends? Leftovers from last night?
They came in to see me, but they want to see you.
Oh, well, I don't blame them. What are you boys doing, mugging up a chain letter?
If you don't mind, miss, we'd like to talk to you a few minutes.
No, I'm not supposed to sit with the customers.
It's all right. We're not customers. We're police officers.
Oh.
Right over there, we're fine, miss.
We just want to ask you a few questions, miss.
Like what?
Like, for a start, what's your name?
Lily Marlowe.
Hope you'll excuse me if that sounds a little phony.
It is.
What's your real name?
Oh, you know, it's been so long I can't remember. Isn't that silly? Either of you detectives seen a gold cigarette holder around anyway? Oh, never mind.
What's your address?
305 Sycamore Avenue, Hollywood. Thanks.
This is the 50 you gave the bartender.
It is?
Listen, we got work to do around here. Now, you fellas can come back later. Now, Lily, you know
You're
better.
the owner?
Yeah.
Carry on, Sergeant. I'll be my guest. This won't hurt a bit.
Where'd you get the 50?
You know, I've seen all this on Dragnet.
Save the jokes for the customers. Come on, think.
It was a tip. $10.95 the set.
$50 bill is a pretty big tip. What did you do for it?
Just put this down in your little book. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Not what you're thinking.
Okay. How did you get it?
I have a lovely voice. I sang Smoke Gets in Your Eyes 5 times. It was loaded.
Who?
The guy who gave me the 50.
Who was he?
I don't know. I really don't
Oh,
know.
now, come on. Don't pull a blackout on me. Who was he? What was his name?
Never saw him before or since. I miss a man like that.
All right, what did he look like?
I didn't notice.
You can do better than that.
You know, I don't like this kind of work. He was probably a nice guy. But that wouldn't make any difference to you, would it?
If he was a nice guy, he's got nothing to worry about. Now, come on, give.
Well, he was bigger than you. Around 40, dark hair.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Any distinguishing marks, or like scars or moles on his face or body?
How should I know?
How about his voice? Any accent?
No.
Anything else you remember about him?
No.
Nothing. Thank you very much. You've been a great help. If he comes back to hear you sing, please contact us, will you? I want to give you something to remember me by.
That's all, Mr. Hosmer. Thanks.
Now, that's Sergeant Farnham. We'd appreciate your help.
Yes, Sergeant.
Anything?
No. Miss Marlowe doesn't seem to care for police officers. Can't understand why.
No, just certain cops. Anything else I can do for you, gentlemen? You'd like me to sing something?
We'd love it, but we can't afford it.
He makes a bad impression at first, but he loves you. Believe me. What do we look for now?
First we look for a haystack, then we look for a needle.
Don't you think you're giving the taxpayers their money's worth for one night?
Aren't you going to invite me in?
No.
Yeah, at least the pup's friendly.
All right, Murgatroyd. Beat it. Don't be long now. Look, if you've got time to kill, why don't you blow your whistle and arrest somebody?
I think you forgot something.
I don't know what you had in mind, but I'm going to take a shower.
Afraid that'll have to wait a little while.
Make yourself comfortable.
Now, why don't you really try to remember what he looked like?
Who?
The man who gave you the $50. How long have you known him?
All my life. Ever since I was a little girl, I dreamed I'd meet a drunken slob in a bar who'd give me $50 and we'd live happily ever after. Stuffy in here. Do I pass? Detective dear, I'm going to tell you a little bedtime story. Once upon a time, there was a girl. She could have been my twin, who got into trouble in a big city far away. She was framed for something she didn't do. So today, she doesn't go in for framing other people. Do you feel the point?
At the end of your story?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna be framed. Now, why don't you try real hard to remember? See if you can't come up with something good for me to go on, huh? You know, withholding information from the police gets you in all sorts of trouble.
I like to keep my job at the club. I get hungry 3 times a day.
You keep eating. Now, come on, think back.
Well, all right, he had a mustache. Thin one. When he gave me the $50, I told him I thought it was a pretty good tip. He said he could afford it because he'd had a good day at the track. Will you buy that?
Yeah, sure, for now. See, you had this set for 12. Let's make it about 8:30, huh? Appreciate it if you came down to police headquarters about 9:15. Looked over our picture gallery. And, wear something simple. I'll pick you up myself.
You've been grand. I just don't know how to thank you.
I bet you do. Come in.
Let's come in. Well, any luck, Miss Marlowe?
She checked all the mugshots in R&I.
And?
Nothing.
Well, that figures, doesn't it? I mean, if he only works New York, he wouldn't be in our files. Sit down, Miss Marlowe, please.
Thanks.
You know, I telegraphed the description that you gave us to New York, and we hope it may help them back there to come up with some new evidence. I also sent out a special bulletin to stores, the racetrack, and banks, and suggested they put on a special watch. See, you've given us a lead, Miss Marlowe. It's kind of slim, but still something. Brunner tells me you'd be willing to help.
Oh, well, Bruna tells me I haven't got any choice.
Well, that isn't exactly true. However, I think I should explain to you, we're looking for more than money in this case. We're looking for a killer. Now, the man who gave you that $50 bill may be the one. And there's no one, at least that we know of, can identify him for sure, except you. And if we should spot him, he could be dangerous. Of course, you'll have plenty of protection at all times.
Thanks, Captain. But you know, I think I'll just sit this one out. You see, I'm no good during the daytime. My eyes hurt. I work nights, you know. So I think I'll just huddle back to bed.
Excuse me. Yes?
Lubin, Captain. Things are getting hot. Just got a report from Hollywood Park on the New York job. 2 20s and a 50 came in. What's our next move?
I'll call you back. Well, Miss Marlowe, you heard that.
Mm-hmm.
And?
I wish I'd never seen that 50.
Well, I'm glad you did because, let's face it, unless you help us, we don't have much to go on. What about it now? Will you go out to the park with the boys here and take a chance that you might just see this fella? Close that blind. The sun's right in her eyes.
No, never mind. Leave him like that. Guess I better get used to it. Oh, and you can save that speech about being a good citizen, Captain. Crazy about horses.
Okay, so the story of Private Hell 36 takes place in Los Angeles, but it doesn't truly begin there. The movie opens with a pre-title sequence that takes place in New York City, a year before the events of the main plot of this movie. We see a dead man in an elevator and another man dressed as a doorman, elevator operator, walking away with a case. According to our narrator, it was a crime that started growing cold.
Leave it to New York City to make it Los Angeles' problem.
That's right. I like how this movie starts with the narrator. It's very similar to popular crime shows of the era. In fact, Lily Marlowe even name drops Dragnet when she's getting grilled by Cal in the nightclub. And I think when we talk about our leading lady and our writer in the next segment, there are some ties to, like cop dramas as far as something that will come up later for one of the writers. But I digress. As the story picks up 1 year after the unsolved crime in New York City, we go to Los Angeles, and we meet Detective Cal Bruner, who sees some hubbub going on at a pharmacy. And this leads to a skirmish with a transient that Cal arrests. On the person of that transient is a $50 bill that was passed to the pharmacist who filled some prescriptions for a man with gallbladder issues, and he paid with that bill.
Isn't all this kind of convoluted? I mean, there's a $50 bill that was used to get prescriptions, and he got the bill from a guy at a bar, and it all has to do with the elevator homicide in New York. It seems like a lot to get this movie's plot going.
Yeah, I don't fully disagree with you that the movie does kind of start convoluted. Thankfully, it passes quickly. But basically, yes, the $50 bill is indeed identified as one of the bills that was part of the New York crime. Pretty much from there, it's kind of straightforward. We need to figure out where that bill came from and who made the original purchase that had that bill. So it's off to the nightclub, and here the boys meet Lily Marlowe.
Lily Marlowe is such a cool name. Sounds mysterious and like a femme fatale.
Yeah, it does. I like that it's not her real name, and we're not going to really find out what her real name was. That gets played off in a fairly clever way, with Lily saying it's been so long ago that she doesn't remember her real name.
She's got spunk.
So let's talk about our two detectives on the case for the LAPD. The first one we meet, like I said, is Cal Bruner, played by Steve Cochran. Cochran has a kind of unfortunate story. While he does have a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame, there aren't a ton of movies on his filmography that are terribly recognizable today. However, he did work in a couple of films with Danny Kaye and Virginia Mayo. He had a movie with Jimmy Cagney. He was in the 1946 Best Picture, The Best Years of Our Lives, which also won Frederick March his second Oscar. It was one of the very first movies selected for the Library of Congress in 1989 for preservation. It was almost as if Cochran was just created for film noir roles like this movie. He starred in others like Slander, I, Mobster, Inside the Walls of Folsom Prison, and Tomorrow is Another Day. But things take a dark turn for Cochran when it became very well known that he was a big-time womanizer. This brought a ton of tabloid attention to him, and prior to this film's release, Cochran was often in trouble with the police and supposedly was arrested for assault and reckless driving. The tale of Cochran's death is truly bizarre. In June 1965, he went on a sailing trip from Acapulco to Costa Rica. He brought with him 3 young women to accompany him on his trip. He had been married to Jonah Jensen, but I'm not sure if they were still married at the time. But none of those 3 girls with him on the boat were Jensen. But anyway, while on this trip, Cochran fell ill with an acute lung infection. He died 2 days later. The boat went adrift with the 3 girls on board, not knowing how to sail the boat, and his dead body was decomposing the whole time. It would be 10 days before they were rescued off the coast of Guatemala.
Oh my god, that sounds awful and kind of spooky.
Right?
10 days of being stuck on a boat you have no idea how to drive or where you are, and there's a guy's bloated, rotting corpse just right over there stinking up the place?
Yeah, it's awful. With his second wife, Florence Lockwood, they had a daughter who would then become the mother of TV producer Alex Johns, who was the co-executive producer of Futurama for over 70 episodes. It's also said that the singer Stephen Morrissey, you know that guy, Nurse?
Is he the guy from the 80s who sang all the mopey songs, who maybe has a lot of really iffy opinions on all sorts of stuff?
Yeah, that's the guy. Anyway, he claims his parents named him Stephen because of Steve Cochran.
Well, I guess that's something.
Hey, I just wanted to bring that up from what I read on the Wikipedia. But, alright, the older cop of the two, Jack Farnham, is played by Howard Duff. Now, Jack at least comes across as the much more grounded and professional of the two cops. He seems fairly level-headed. He's the one married with a kid. In fact, Jack's wife, Francie, is played by Dorothy Malone. Malone was already a veteran of film. She would go on to win the 1956 Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for her role as Marilee Hadley in Written on the Wind. She would get a pretty significant role as Constance McKenzie in Peyton Place, a role that she would have for 342 episodes before leaving. In the late 70s, Malone would be in the movies The Day Time Ended and Good Luck Miss Wyckoff. Finally, in 1992, Malone's final film role was as Hazel Dobkins in Basic Instinct.
Was she the lady who did the leg crossing thing in that movie?
No. However, I guess if she wanted to do that in this movie, I'd be cool with that. Anyway, back to Howard Duff. Between 1946 and 1950, Duff played Sam Spade on the radio series The Adventures of Sam Spade. During this time, he also had a contract with Universal Pictures. One of the movies he appeared in thanks to that contract was 1948's The Naked City. That movie won a couple of Oscars for cinematography and editing and inspired the 1958 TV series. By 1954, he was working as a freelance actor. Duff worked for a very long time. Even in the 80s, he was still getting roles in movies like Oh God Book 2, Monster in the Closet, and No Way Out. Duff also played the role of Dustin Hoffman's divorce attorney, John Shaughnessy, in the Oscar-winning film Kramer vs. Kramer. His final film, Too Much Sun, directed by Robert Downey Sr. and starring Robert Downey Jr., was released the same year he passed away from a heart attack, 1990. But Duff was a staunch Democrat, and this also might have gotten him listed as a communist subversive in the Red Channels Journal in the early 50s. And while he lost his radio job, which was the reason why he stopped playing Sam Spade, he nearly lost his entire acting career, if not for his marriage. We'll talk more about that in the next segment because there's all sorts of interesting relationship stuff in this movie.
Ooh, it's time for us to serve some tea.
Excuse me. You have a match? Sure.
Sergeant, 5 days has been enough. I resign.
Now, take it easy, baby. We've got track security men all over the place. The guy wouldn't have a chance. Look, why don't you look around over at the $10 window, huh? And stop worrying. Jack and I are watching you, too.
Hi.
Five on 8.
Arrive on number 8.
The horses are nearing the starting gate.
Number 8, please.
Well, only 2 more races.
You know, I work nights, too.
Well, how about me, honey? Don't I come in the club every night? Never leave your side for a minute. Now, he might come back to hear you sing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running. I'm the star in the Toledo booth, breaking arms out. Hidden Luda's second, Rude scores third, Greg Zombie is full. Into the box stretch, it's Greg Zombie drawing out by 2.5 lengths. Hidden Luda's second by 2. Favorite date moving up on the outside. Followed by Romance and Mr. Reliable.
Did you see those diamonds?
Yes, honey, but we're not looking for diamonds.
I am.
Wins it by 3/4 of a length. Favorite date second by a length and a half. Rude squad third by a length and a half. And 2 seconds, finish 4.
Sucker.
The booth responded gamely to the dynamic urging of Donkey Ralph Neves in the final seat.
She must be tired.
Yeah. Again.
Not a bad dame.
What kind of talk is that for a married man?
Can't stand much more of this stakeout.
What do you mean?
Didn't know there was this much money in the world. These people throw it around like it was confetti.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You know, someday I'm going to come out here on my own time with a wad of dough and a gal like...
Like Lily, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Francie'd like to have you come out to the house on Monday night for dinner. Bring somebody. How about it?
Monday?
Yeah.
Sure, I'd like it.
Why don't you ask Lily?
Maybe I might just do that.
I want you to know I could never feel as others do. And even though I may kiss you, I could always let you go. For I've told my heart that I'll never fall in love. Didn't, oh, didn't you know? Won the 4th race.
Go ahead, knock off again. Do you good.
I'd love to, but if I do, I'll never get up. Say, I'd look great turning up to the track in this outfit, wouldn't I? Thanks. Oh, I'm so stiff.
Here, let me do that. Turn around. Turn around. Just relax.
Oh, Sergeant, dear, that feels great. Just what I need. Thanks.
These last 3 days, I've learned a lot about you.
What?
You're not half as tough as you like people to think you are.
Can you guess my age and weight, too?
You need somebody to take over, look after you once in a while. Only, you couldn't give in to that, could you?
You know, somewhere in my dim past, I seem to have heard this before.
I've said it before. To all sizes and all shapes. Only, with you, I mean it. Don't ask me why.
All right, I won't. What time is it?
3:15.
Oh, no.
You ever been married?
Yeah, I tried it once. When I was 18.
Well?
Oh, he's a great guy. Broke. Never sober. One day went on the wagon, took a look at me and thought I was his first wife. No, I've grown up since then. Crazy about money now. Isn't that awful?
No.
Because I haven't struck gold, but I haven't given up hope either.
There's a man figure in this?
Yeah, man figures. If he likes the things I like and can afford them. No, I pulled up lame. Gonna have to let this one go.
Yeah. This time I mean it.
Showed up after the last race. Somebody bought one ticket, got $40 in change. There was a big rush at the last minute. The fellow didn't get a chance to check until after the race.
Let's circulate, Come on, baby.
All right.
Honey.
Yeah?
Take these and look up there in the stands. See what you see. Over in there.
All right.
You know, I'm going to be a little bit sorry when this case is over. You're getting to be a habit with me. Day and night. See anything?
No?
Gonna miss me?
Right now, I'm too tired to know.
You kind of liked that diamond bracelet on that old gal yesterday, didn't you?
Loved it.
Guess I'm going to have to start saving my money.
You do that,
Come on, let's mix a little, huh?
down for me.
What are you doing?
Relax.
What are you doing?
Just take it easy. Now we'll put the loose ones back on top.
Are you crazy?
I'm gonna phone in.
Give me that.
No.
Go on back. It's police officers. Go on. Now keep that road clear.
We dragged the body out here.
He sure was a big guy. Is this the box?
Yes, sir.
This where it landed?
Yeah, just about there, Captain.
Get a chance to count it?
No, we were picking the step up all over the canyon here.
What time did it happen?
About, I guess about 6:15, 30.
You've gone over everything in here. What about these bags? Did you check these?
Yes, sir.
Well, here you are, Captain.
Nothing else, huh?
No, that's all. Can we move the body?
Go ahead.
All right.
600 or 700. This identification probably forged or stolen. Edgar H. Brown, it says here. Why don't you boys knock off? You put in a good day's work.
Fine.
Thanks.
You win any money at the track?
No, we were a little busy.
Okay, see you later.
Right.
Good night.
Good night. Oh, boys, don't forget to thank Miss Marlowe for me.
Oh, no, I'll take care of it personally.
What'd you do with it?
Just keep driving, I'll show you.
That's good, because somehow we're going to put it back.
Oh, we are? What do you suggest? Going to Michael's and telling him we overlooked it? We accidentally picked up $80,000?
I don't want any part of it.
You wanted it as much as I did. It was written all over your face.
All right, maybe I did in a way. Who wouldn't? Sure, I thought of what I could do with all that dough. But wanting it and taking it are two different things.
Said we took it. Just wasn't there. Who's to know how much was there in the first place? Nobody can prove anything.
It's marked money, Cal. What are you going to do with it? Use it for wallpaper?
I don't know about you, but I know what I'm going to do with my half. Keep it a while, and sell it. Slow down. It's right up there, on the right.
Well?
That's us over there, the little one. Number 36. Best place I could think of in a hurry. We like to go fishing weekends. The man rents it to us by the month, and for a little extra, he keeps it here for us. It'll do for a while.
That's great. What makes you think I'll go along with you?
Jack, we're partners. We got a lot to lose. Especially you. You've got Francie and the kid to think about.
Thanks for reminding me.
We've both got keys. Number 36.
You've done a pretty good job all the way around, haven't you?
I think so. Now, when we get together Monday, we'll really have something to celebrate.
Jack, I know I sound like an old nag, but please don't drink so much.
It's supposed to be a party, isn't it?
Of course.
We're supposed to be celebrating what great cops we are, isn't that right?
Oh, Jack.
So we'll eat, drink, and be merry. I'll handle it. I'm needing to fix this leg.
Why don't I make the drinks?
Just sit down, will you?
What's the matter? You two had a lover's spat? Dinner won't be ready for a while. I'm doing something special. I hope you like spaghetti. I do a nice sauce.
No, thank you.
Maybe it's too hot for it. Oh, no, I love it. Well, you haven't seen the farms till you've seen Bridget. I'll go bring her out.
Leave her where she is, Francie.
But it's cooler in here. Besides, Lily and Cal would like to see her, wouldn't you? Oh, go on, bring her in.
Go ahead.
I don't want Bridget in here.
All right. Look, Francie, why don't I go in and see her, huh?
One ginger ale, one club soda. That correct, Sergeant?
That's right. What are you waiting for? It's a charge.
Oh, I know that. I saw your picture in the paper when you tracked that man down. Chase and all. It was great.
Thanks, son.
On like this, you're really going to louse things up. You know that, don't you?
Can't even look at my own kid anymore. I can't look in the mirror without gagging.
Come on, Jack. Snap out of it. Look, leave this whole thing to me, will you? Believe me, it's going to be all right.
Well, I tried sleepy time down south on her, and she wouldn't go for it. She's a little dull, Jack. Spike this for me, Sergeant.
Sure.
Dinner won't be long. Jack, why don't you give me a hand with the salad? He's great on salads. Yeah.
There you go, baby.
Thanks.
Ooh.
Cal,
Huh?
what's the matter with Jack tonight?
I don't know. Maybe his feet hurt, too. Oh, too bad you're working tonight.
Why?
We can go down to the beach and cool off.
Hello? No. No, this is Sunset 25690.
Never saw you boys so jumpy. What are you doing, running a bookie joint on the side?
No. Nothing that legitimate.
Oh, it was great, Francie.
Oh, no. I'm stuffed. I can't eat another bite. Oh. It was wonderful. You're beautiful and you can cook.
Oh, that's too much. Francie, let me give you a hand with the dishes, huh?
No. Oh, thank you, Lily.
Jack, you don't know what you're missing. It was good.
You know, you got a nice place here, Jack. Well, you will have as soon as all this green stuff grows up.
Just like some cheap murder mystery.
What do you mean?
I planted something else besides flowers there.
What are you talking about?
I buried a key there. There's the number 36 on it. Some people plant flowers in their backyards. I plant keys.
Would you like us to leave?
Yeah.
I'm going to hold you to that promise.
Okay. Oh, she's smart. Wouldn't let me do a dish. Well, Lily's going to make a new woman of me. Going to get me a new hairdo, and it might even call for a new dress.
Don't you listen to Lily. She'll get you into bad habits. Baby, you about ready? It's getting a little late.
Yeah, Francie, I forgot I'm a working girl. Got to go.
Oh, that's right.
And so long, honey.
I want
Thanks
you all
for the
to come
dinner. It was a
again.
wonderful dinner.
I'm glad you liked it.
Will you give me the recipe with that sauce sometime?
Uh-huh, flatterer.
Francie, thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you came.
Night, Jack.
Night.
Night, Cal.
See you tomorrow, Jack.
Night.
Bye. Bye.
I don't think they had a good time. Oh, I was just kidding about the dress and the hairdo. We'll save that money.
Never mind. You spent it on yourself. It's ours, isn't it? We came by it honestly, didn't we?
Of course we did.
I'm sorry, Francie. Hello? Yes, sir. No, he just left here. I don't know where he's going to be. All right, I'll tell him. Maybe I can reach him at home later. Yes, Captain. We'll see you first thing in the morning. Good night.
Is anything wrong?
No, nothing's wrong.
You've always told me when something bothered you.
Listen, Francie, why don't you get some rest?
Maybe I can help.
Jeff, how many days in a row do you think Cal, Lily, and Jack had to go to the racetrack to find this guy with the mustache who gave Lily the $50 bill?
I don't know, but it seems like a lot.
It got to the point where I kind of forgot they were actually cops doing a job. I just thought they became track rats or something.
No doubt. We need to talk about the star of this movie, Ida Lupino. I think Ida Lupino is not only very attractive and interesting as an actress, but she's also a very important figure in filmmaking, and I'm not sure she gets enough credit for that. Lupino is actually a Brit. She was born in London in 1918. Her mother, Connie, was an actress, and her father was a comedian. In fact, she comes from a theatrical family. They were one of the greatest performing families in history, actually. Interestingly, Ida didn't love being an actress at first. She only went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art to please her father. Probably part of why she didn't love acting was that she was almost always given bad girl roles early on. This means she played a lot of prostitutes in those early roles, but still, it's hard to deny that Lupino has a sultry appearance. This proved to be something of a point of consternation for studios when she arrived in Hollywood. She eventually became a contract player at Warner Brothers, but it was not a happy situation for her. Most of that time in her contracted years was spent being suspended by Jack Warner personally. You see, Lupino would refuse roles that were assigned to her because she often felt what was being assigned to her was beneath her dignity, or she'd get in trouble for making script revisions for her characters. One such instance that led to a suspension was that she had a chance to appear opposite Ronald Reagan in King's Row, but she turned that down flat.
Well, she was a lifelong Democrat, so...
Very true, but once she left Warner, she eventually found her way to the company that made this film, Filmmakers. In 1949, she stepped in as director on Not Wanted, which was a movie about an unwed pregnancy. She was not credited and was only filling in for Elmer Clifton, who fell ill. Then she directed and co-wrote Never Fear, which was sort of based on her own battle with polio, which ran rampant in Hollywood in the 40s. That same year, in 1950, she made one of the very first films about rape, Outrage. In 1953, she made the noir drama The Bigamist, co-starring Joan Fontaine, as well as the noir thriller The Hitchhiker. The latter of those 1953 films she directed would not only mark the first film noir thriller to be directed by a woman, but also it was selected to be preserved in the Library of Congress. One thing you might notice if you go into the synopsis of those movies is that these movies are either melodramas about taboo topics or like kind of gritty noir and crime thrillers. This places Ida Lupino squarely in the proto-feminism movement in filmmaking. Martin Scorsese is a big fan of Lupino and has talked in great detail about her stripped-down style as both an actress and director, basically stating she had no taste for glamour. These were almost the opposite of what you'd expect to see in movies during this period. These are not glamorous or beautiful people leading larger-than-life lives. They were more average people rocked by trauma or what have you. Lupino herself hated the idea of commodifying female stars. She didn't want to be an object of desire, even though her good looks and her approach to acting was, as something of a naturalist. I mean, she knew that the more she leaned into commodifying those looks and an attitude of sexiness in her persona, that would be the moment her career would begin dying, and it wouldn't last very long. And her career lasted 47 years.
So I guess you could say she avoided those traps she spoke out against.
Yeah, most definitely. But let's talk about the writer. Nurse, do you happen to know who Collier Young is?
I'm thinking he's a guy named Collier Young.
Well, hey, you're right about that.
Well, how about that? See, I am the smart one around here.
Collier Young was born in 1908 and didn't get into film until 1948. He started off as an advertiser, and according to his Wikipedia page, it seems as though he lived in Indianapolis about 10 years before his movie career began. Later on in his career, Young created the series Ironside, starring Raymond Burr, and he was also the producer of 88 episodes of One Step Beyond and an executive producer on the revival series The Next Step Beyond in the late 70s. But Nurse, let's get the tea out so we can spill it.
Finally, I'm over here ready to get to the good stuff you promised last segment, and you're over there talking Steps Beyond and Ironsides and bullcrap.
Well, the wait is over. In 1948, Collier Young married Ida Lupino. Several of Lupino's directing and writing work was closely connected to Young. Either he wrote the scripts she directed, or they co-wrote scripts, Private Hell 36 included. But where things get interesting is they divorced in 1951.
Wait, but wasn't this movie 1954?
Yep.
And they were still working together, or was this some sort of old script that they wrote when they were together?
Nope. They continued to work together even after they divorced and moved on with new spouses for years. In fact, Young would be the executive producer on the show Mr. Adams and Eve that co-starred Lupino. And at the time of making this movie, Collier Young had married Joan Fontaine.
Wait, didn't you say that Ida Lupino directed the movie with Joan Fontaine in it?
Yeah, I sure did. The bigamist co-starred Lupino and Fontaine, with Lupino directing a script by Collier Young.
I bet that was uncomfortable.
I don't know. It seemed as though Lupino and Young had a very good relationship post-marriage. Oh, and I should mention that TV show Young executive produced Mr. Adams and Eve.
Yeah?
Yeah, that co-starred Ida Lupino's subsequent husband, Howard Duff.
Wait, isn't Howard Duff in this movie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lupino and Duff married the very same year she and Collier Young split, 1951. They remained married for 33 years.
Well, isn't this set quite the incestual web?
Indeed it is.
I must say, that little inside scoop did not disappoint.
Good. I think we need to get into the final act of Private Hell 36. If you thought things were starting to get a little tense now that Cal has taken money from the guy who was in on the original crime in New York City and forcing Jack to go along with the plan of keeping the money, things are about to get a lot more uncomfortable for our detective friends as they start to struggle with what's been done.
Nice people. Francie and Jack.
Oh.
Too bad, though.
What do you mean?
Well, people like that not getting along. Maybe they're having a little trouble in the dough department.
Could be. Guy with house payments to meet and wife and kid to look after gets a little rough. Figures.
Jack seemed to have something else on his mind, though.
Maybe you did. Maybe you got something on your mind. What is it?
Nothing. I was just thinking. Now, I gotta hand it Francie the way she runs that house and everything. I couldn't do it. Must be something wrong with me.
Yeah, nothing wrong with you. You wouldn't want to be a cop's wife, would you?
No. Rice is for eating, not throwing.
That's the way I feel. We're a lot alike, Lily. We won't settle for just anything. We want the best. And you know what? We're gonna get it.
Yeah, that's why I'm putting the show on the road.
What do you mean?
Thought I'd try Las Vegas for a while. It's quite a spot. You ever been there?
Nope.
I thought with all that loot floating around, there ought to be a way of getting some of it for little me. Don't you think?
Yeah, sure. Who's going to stake you? Oh, that's a silly question, isn't it?
I don't like that.
So you don't like it? Lily, if it's money that's troubling you, maybe I can afford you. How does that sound?
Like a pretty cold proposition. Thanks, I'll make it under my own steam.
Yeah, I bet you will. You should be a smash with that voice of yours. That's what you had in mind, isn't it? Singing.
Shut up. What I do is none of your business.
It has been.
You dirty little cop. What's to keep me here?
Me?
That's a laugh. I was getting along fine until I met you. Sure, I was broke. I still am. But I didn't have to answer to anybody, and that's the way I like it.
Oh, that's the way you like it, is it? That's why you're running out, huh? You're stuck for me. That's why you're running out. Same as I am for you. Isn't that right?
Leave me alone, will you?
Answer me.
Leave me alone.
Isn't that right?
I don't know.
Farnham are outside, sir.
Are you sure about the fingerprints on those suitcases?
I'm positive.
It's funny because here in Bruner's and Farnham's report... thanks, Stimson. Tell them to come on in.
Right, sir. Captain will see you now.
Hello, boys.
Captain?
Captain. Sit down. I was just looking over your report here. Checked all contents of car. You told me that you checked those suitcases, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. And you report here that you did.
That's right.
Now, I can't figure out how you could do it.
Do what, sir?
Well, how you could check those bags without leaving any fingerprints. Because your prints were everywhere else around the place except on those two suitcases. It was just the dead man's.
Well, Jack probably figured that he had, all the excitement and everything.
So it was a mistake, huh? Pretty careless one, don't you think? Those bags might have been important clues in this case. That's no way to slough off possible evidence.
I'm sorry, Captain.
Won't happen again, sir.
By the way, there was almost $200,000 in that box.
Yeah, we read that in the newspaper.
That leaves around $100,000 that's still missing. We know some of it was passed, and probably some of it was sold in the hot money market, but not that much. Because the bonding company will undoubtedly send out a special investigator. You'll want to talk to both of you and ask you a few questions.
Oh, sure. Anytime. Is that all, sir?
That's all. Thanks, boys.
Yes?
Stimson, will you have somebody bring up those two suitcases?
Yes, sir.
Want a cup of coffee, Jack? It's hot.
No.
Didn't your mom ever teach you to say no, thank you?
How does it feel to have your hands on that kind of money?
I didn't feel anything.
I hear there's a lot that hasn't turned up.
Now, if you'd like to make a small investment, Jack, I know a guy who's drilling an oil well near Segundo. There's a grand or two still open.
What's with you? You're looking to start something.
What's the matter with you guys? Can't you take a joke?
I don't like the joke.
You all right?
Yeah.
Your boyfriend's a little overtrained.
Sergeants Bruner and Farnham, report to Captain Michael's office. Bruner and Farnham, Captain Michael's office.
You wanted to see us, Captain?
Yes, boys. I want you to take a look at the clothes in these suitcases. This coat here, Farnham, slip yours off. Try it on.
You serious?
I want to show you something.
All right, sir.
Because you're a pretty big fella. A little snug, isn't it?
It certainly is. What's all this, sir?
Well, the driver of that car was bigger than you, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It's a cinch he couldn't have worn this coat. So he must have had a partner. Maybe that's where the rest of the money is. I wonder where they were going to meet. No labels here, of course. It's a pretty well-tailored coat. Oh, we'll check all these clothes. Maybe the stitching will give us something. Yes? Oh, that's all right. Go ahead. Uh-huh. Farnham? Well, send him home. I'll have Lubin find a replacement. police surgeon down Georgia Street. When you told me you were a fighter, we could use you at the police benefits.
It wasn't anything, Captain.
Well, we were just horsing around in the locker room.
Not quite the way I heard it. Well, let's forget it.
That's all, boys.
I got down for 4.
Into 4, 10, 16, 18. And in spades.
Sergeant, dear, that's another game. And you know something? You owe me $20. Nobody could be this bad. You're not trying.
Sure I am, honey.
And you're not very bright.
Can't keep my mind on the game tonight.
Come on, give me the 20. We're only 3 customers in the Emerald Club tonight. Very bad for the purse.
There you are. Plenty more where that came from.
Good.
Your deal. Yellow.
I saw your picture in the paper. Smart cops, you boys. But not too smart.
Who is this?
Never mind the details. That money belongs to me. You're gonna give it up, or I'll have to tell the teacher all about it.
Who is this?
Don't waste my time, Bruner. I know how much was in that box. I'll let you know where and when.
What's that for?
That's for good night. They want me down at Central.
Michael's?
Mm-hmm. Here you go. Oh. Sorry to break it up, Coleman.
Well, too bad. First time I ever lost a man to a man. Well, it was fun while it lasted.
You and I are going to last a lot longer than you think. Come on, drive you home. Francie, this is Cal.
Is Jack there?
Oh, Cal, where is he? What's wrong?
Ron?
He's in trouble. I know he is. I heard him take the car out about an hour ago, about 2 o'clock. I tried to stop him, but...
Been out riding? Francie was worried about you, Jack. Frankly, I was too. What have you been doing? Checking up on our investment?
What do you want?
Is it still there?
I don't know. Somebody was tailing me.
Sure, somebody was tailing you. You know who? The guy whose coat you didn't fit. I got a phone call tonight. You know, we've got a partner on this deal now. He'd like to meet us with the money.
When?
He said he'd let me know. You weren't trying to cross me up tonight, were you, Jack?
Cal,
Jack, is that you?
I'll meet you at Russo's in an hour.
Okay. You've got a deal. I Hi, Murgatroyd. Come on, Murgatroyd.
Who is it?
Me.
Oh.
Lily,
Mm.
I gotta talk to you.
Oh, honey, I'm beat. Not now, later.
Not later, now.
Cal. Oh.
Baby, how would you like to go to Acapulco, someplace like that?
Well, this was worth waking up for. Oh, I haven't got the clothes for it.
We can buy clothes down there.
Yeah, and that $200 you loaned me will help.
It wasn't a loan.
Huh? Since when can cops go around passing out money like that? Cal,
Yeah?
when did your rich uncle die?
Tonight.
That's too bad. I'm sorry. You must have done him a big favor once, huh?
Yeah, I did.
I've heard of smart cops doing favors once in a while. But you know something? I don't blame them. After all, look at the risk they take for us taxpayers.
Nellie, I want you. I've never wanted anything like I want you. Maybe we could even get married down there.
I've always wanted to go to Mexico. Crazy about hot food. Hello? Yes, he's here.
Who is it?
It's Jack. He sounds funny.
What do you want? Keep your shirt on. I'll be there. We're supposed to be on duty. I just took off for a little while. Can you leave tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay, I'll call you later.
Cal,
Yeah?
tell me something.
What?
Did Jack's rich uncle die tonight, too?
No.
Cal! Cal!
What?
I've changed my mind.
What are you talking about?
Look, maybe I don't need that diamond bracelet. I'm kind of used to having you around. I don't want anything to spoil that.
Nothing's going to spoil it, baby.
Yeah, but maybe we really don't need these things.
That's what you say today. But tomorrow you see something in the window. Something with a price tag on it. A big price tag. And you'll want it. And even if you don't, I will. And we're going to have those things.
All right, have it your way. Take care, huh?
Give me a cup of coffee, honey, will you? Black?
What took you so long?
What's the hurry?
I've got some news for you.
Yeah? Okay.
We're not going to give the money to that hood.
Well, now you're talking sense.
We're going to turn it over to Michaels in the morning.
Oh, we're going to turn it over to Michaels, huh? And what are you going to do for another job, if and when you get out?
I don't know, but I'm not going on like this.
Hey. Oh, hi, Betty. I thought you wanted to do so much for Francie and the kid.
Not this way.
Jack, will you believe me? I know what I'm doing about this money. We take it down to Mexico and sell it. So you take a beating on it. But there'll be plenty left for both of us.
Aren't you getting a little bit ahead of yourself?
What do you mean?
What about our partner?
What about our partner? When he calls, we'll keep the appointment with him. He'll shoot in self-defense. Might even get a big promotion for it.
Now we murder. You're sick, Cal. I should have known that a long time ago. You don't care about anything or anybody. You're sick.
Coming from you, Jack, that hurts.
We're no better than that hophead money pusher you dragged in. Maybe even worse. He's got an expensive habit to support. That's his excuse, but what's ours? A couple of sticky-fingered cops. Thieves.
So?
So we're gonna come clean. We're gonna turn that money in before it's too late. We both got good records. Maybe they won't be too hard on us, I don't know. But we're gonna come clean.
Is that the way you want it?
That's the way it's gonna be.
Okay. Hmm? What are we waiting for? Come on, call it.
Heads.
You lose. Under the cushion in the sack.
So you were gonna run out on me. Drop that sack.
Cover me, Cal. I'm not running out on you! Shoot! It's light over here. That's good. A little more. A little more. Right up against the trailer. That's it. Let's see now. Captain.
You're gonna be all right, Farnham. You're lucky.
Where's Bruner?
Dead. He's better off.
Captain, Georgia Street's on the way. Can I help?
You can pick up all this money that Farnham found.
That's the voice. That's the other guy.
No, Farnham. No. He's one of our men. There never was anybody else. A policeman, unlike most men, lives close to evil and violence. He can, like all men, make his own private hell. The good pass through it with minor burns. The evil stumble and fall and die in strange places.
And so there we have it. What began as the allure of a woman that Cal wanted to desperately possess leads to a split-second decision that then leads to a rift between two partners that leads to ultimate betrayal and death. I personally think this is a pretty damn good movie. Sure, there are things about the movie that places it squarely of its time, like Lily seemingly tough and determined to have her life her way, only for her to kind of comfortably slide into the rugged Cal's arms and continues to want to be with him even after the more or less calls her a whore and slaps her. Yeah, it's definitely something that is an unfortunate part that maybe betrays her character's strength, but I was getting the impression that she knew that maybe Cal wasn't entirely on the up and up anyway, especially in their final exchange, but I kind of have to give it a pass for 1954. Ida Lupino is really good in this. I get why Cal is attracted to her. She's an attractive character. She plays it fairly straight, too. She seems like a nightclub singer and what you would expect a lot of independent women in the mid-50s to act and talk like. She has a sexuality about her that doesn't beat you over the head. She's cool and confident, and that's where her sexiness really comes from. Meanwhile, you get a lot of what to expect from Cal and Jack from the early scenes. Cal is kind of a tempest. He acts first, and he thinks and puzzles through things later, and that was apparent in the opening scene. He doesn't even think twice about seeing what's going on in the pharmacy. The moment he sees all the money in that lockbox that he and Jack find, he stuffs the money and then has to leave Jack for an hour or so while he has to then try to figure out where to stash the money for safety. And what's more is he's acting on his base desires. He knows what Lily wants, which is some sense of wealth and glamour, or whatever that means to her. She talks about wanting a diamond bracelet, so he figures that is exactly what she needs, and he needs to make it happen. You can say you like the look of something without needing that thing, but Cal doesn't think in those terms. She wants something, she must have it. He must be the one to provide it. It's all very cut and dry, quick answers. Jack, on the other hand, well, he's got a family. Things cannot be that quickly determined. He needs to think about providing for a wife and daughter. He's procedural. He's an honest cop. He may not be the best investigator, but he may not be the biggest hero, but he's the good guy, and he wants to do his job well. When something upsets that drive he has, namely his own partner, whom he jokes with early on about going steady with each other, as if they know each other better than the other knows himself, it begins to really destroy Jack. He drinks, he gets angry easily, his world shatters. In some ways, it's like a breakup that you don't see coming, and you're just losing a part of your life that is simply not easy to disconnect yourself from. And I think this movie does a good job at showing these characters on this arc where, yes, Lily does find something she likes being around, even if she isn't entirely thinking about settling down for good. And then these two partners on the force are so different that it both makes them a perfect pair as investigators, but also places them on the razor's edge of it all going sour very quickly. The film critic Judith M. Cass has stated that this movie uses a theme that is not uncommon in Siegel's work, which makes the concept of love being something of an antagonist and creates complications in people's lives instead of shelters for them. I think this is a very good movie that doesn't get as much attention as it probably should, thanks to this being something of a more obscure indie film nowadays. And finally, speaking of indie films, this was made by the Filmmakers Releasing Organization. However, their own company name is not spelled correctly. It only has one M when the word filmmakers has two M's. Also, I'm not sure if this is an extra joke based on their own film production company being misspelled, but the end of the movie says it was made in Hallwood, not made in Hollywood. I guess that was something seen at the end of all of their movies. Alright. I think I've said about all I can say about Private Hell 36. So, Nurse, what's your review?
Well, I was glad we were watching yet another black and white movie for this year. I was also happy we got another film noir on our show. I think there were some good things in this movie. I can see what you were saying about the movie and what it was doing with the characters, but oh man, I feel like we should have gotten at least one full song from Lily Marlowe, but then again, maybe we shouldn't. She wasn't that great of a singer. The poster kind of misleads with all its talk of living on the edge, of evil and violence, but there wasn't really much of either of those in this movie. So with all that, I have to say that while it isn't that terrible of a movie, it was very slow. Too slow for me. And while Jeff might be a big fan of this movie, I can only give Private Hell 36 a paltry 2 poops out of 5.